I'm so excited to have you. I'll give you a proper introduction here. Samantha Jane is a scientist turned love guru. Since 2005, Samantha has been the go-to experts for singles looking for love. Her unique approach applies human behavior, psychology, ancient theories, archetypes, and attraction strategies to give you the tools to deeply connect with the one that you want. Sam regularly appears on talkback radio, television, and several advice columns offering relationship advice to the nation. The fresh and honest approach that Sam brings to the world of dating advice allows people to find true love. Super impressive. And I have so many questions for you. We'll see how many we can get through today. My first question is really, I find it so interesting that you are a scientist, or your background is as a scientist. And can you share with us a little bit about how you got into the relationship and dating space and how your background as a scientist informs that?
It was a fascinating journey. So as a little girl, I was always fascinated by love. My passion was fashion. And the strangest journey that I went on was when I was at school, I started guidance counseling. They said, "Go and study science." So I studied science, and I was fascinated by the human behavior component. And before I knew it, I realized that when I finished my degree, I was stuck in labs. And I thought, this is not where my call, this is not my passion, this is not my calling. But what I started doing is started hosting singles events. I started successfully bringing back my friends, moms and dads who were divorcing. I brought them back together. I started realizing that there was a massive gift that I had and I needed to share this. So from the events, I started a dating agency. From the dating agency, I started to study everything I knew about human behavior, love, attraction, passionate about archetypes, and that's where most of my framework is, in the archetypes. And I work with predominantly a specific type of person, which calls himself an overthinker, somebody who is really career driven and they know what they want, but they just can't seem to master love. And that was me too. And until I figured out how to find love using science. So then you get all the facts, and once you have all the facts, then you know this is safe. And then you go on and invest your heart. So it's a very strategic way of finding love. Really works.
I love that. Oh, I just heard a little echo. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, yes.
Interesting. I don't know where that came from. That was so interesting and so cool. Thank you for sharing that with us. And that perfectly leads to my next question for you. Is you talk about the proven scientific strategies for attracting love. Can you share what some of those are? And I know you sort of just mentioned a little bit of it just now, but typically for single women looking to attract lasting love with a man, what are some of those scientifically proven steps that you can share?
My approach is very CSI. So just like if you were to if you watch a show like Luther or Criminal Investigations, they're trying to figure out the motivation behind the crime. Why did that person do what they did? So I found that really fascinating. I studied a human behavioral tool, which is called extended DISC. They also use that in recruitment. So you'll often find that in recruitment, everyone will do a personality test, and then they'll figure out what their perfect role is. So for example, if you're a lawyer or you're a CEO versus an admin person, 2 or 3 very different personality types. So everybody comes for the alpha, the entertainer or the charmer, the girl next door, the guy next door, or the intellect, which is the overthinker, the really super smart, cautious person. So when you look at these behavioral profiling tools, what I do is it identifies what will happen in that relationship with that specific person. So before you get your heart involved, we use a number of factors such as, are you attracted? Of course, you're the only one that knows. And then from there, we move forward about what is the type of relationship you want. And from there, to get that relationship, then you need to target that specific person. And then I also show you how to build attraction and using a lot of positive psychology, so association. So if somebody feels really good around you, when they're away from you and you're away from them, they will start to have good feelings when they think about you. And that's when they start to want to see more of you. When it's about having that perfect bit of space. So that really beautiful rubber band effect, where some people love more contact, some people want less. So when you understand a person, then you'll know exactly what to do to bring them close to you. And also, it's about what you want. So do you want a really intense, loving, passionate relationship? Do you want someone that you're together all the time? Do you want someone that gives you more space and has their own? Do you want someone really social? Do you want to be best friends? All we're interested in is what you want. And then we think about what you want, and then we look at the steps of what will get you there. So the first part is attraction. That's a given. The second part and the third part is figuring out, are they compatible using these profiling tools? Because even if you're super attracted, but they're not compatible, I say goodbye. There's plenty of fish in the sea.
Yeah.
Get it right. That's where we look at getting it right.
That's super interesting. Thank you for sharing that. And it brings me back to, I wanted to ask about these archetypes. You said at the very beginning, a lot of your work is with archetypes. Those 4 that you mentioned, are those the main archetypes that you work with?
Definitely. So the 4 archetypes, the female version and male version.
Okay.
The female version and the male version of the director or the alpha, it's fairly self-explanatory. That's someone who's incredibly career-driven, they're outcome-focused, they're big picture, they get bored by detail. They like to conquer. So if you want that alpha male, it's about being in your feminine energy, because you can't have 2 masculines. Just like in a magnet, 2 positives repel. So this is about being complementary. You can still be an alpha female, and it's really impressive that you can still maintain that career, that drive, that beautiful strength that you have. When it comes to a relationship, you are most powerful in your feminine. So even though you might think, oh, let him take charge, really you're taking charge by letting him take charge. It's just letting him look after you. It's about receiving. And he feels like the man, and you feel looked after, which ultimately it's exhausting being turned right on all the time, as opposed to, oh, I can finally relax when I'm at home in my relationship. My man will take care of things and we'll be great partners. So that's the alpha male. So when you're dating him, it's important to let him feel like the man, let him chase his outcome driven. Don't make it easy for him. Make sense?
That's super cool. Yes, it totally makes sense. And I think a lot of women listening are looking for that. But can you, now I'm obsessed. I want to know the other 3 in detail. I know, I think your free gift goes a lot, really deep into this as well. We can talk about the end, but this is fascinating. So the piece about needing to be in your feminine, is that helpful for the other 3 archetypes as well?
It's all very different. This is where what I teach you is so counterintuitive, because the advice out there mostly is like, and it's great, it's like men are like this and women are like that, versus I want to go a little deeper into, okay, let's look at the type of man that you want and the type of woman you are, because this in itself changed my life, because I was always the girlfriend. I was never the wife. I remember screaming at this boyfriend. It was embarrassing when I look back. Everyone was getting engaged. And I remember it was so frustrating because I was like, well, I get to the 3-year mark and no ring on my finger. And that ultimatum, that really embarrassing ultimatum, completely changed my life, because I was in my masculine and I was trying to put a square hole or a round peg in a square hole, or whatever that saying is. It's about how you find the right man, but also being in your feminine energy. It's about you finding that person who's complementary. Because after I learned this, every single man, I'm serious, that I met wouldn't be the one asking me, do I want commitment? Would I like a family? I had so many marriage proposals, it was not funny, and very early on. And I thought, this is weird. And this is, I will show you how to do this. It's bizarre, but it really works. So, yeah.
Because we're on that topic and we got into the archetypes, do you want to right now mention about the 4 types, the gift that you have? There'll be a link below this video to receive that, but I think it's related to what we're talking about. So I figured.
Totally related. So shall I talk about the next archetype?
Sure. Okay, cool. Yeah. Next archetype.
Or do you want to talk about the gift? Whatever.
Okay. I was going to ask you the same. Which do you want to do? let's go through the archetypes and then talk about the gift. That's perfect.
Sounds good. Love it.
Okay,
Okay.
cool.
Doesn't really matter which order we go. The next archetype is the charmer, which is the male version of the guy who's really fun, he's outgoing, he's super social. When you are present with him, you feel like a goddess. You feel like you're the only woman on the planet that he's interested in. And you just feel so excited because you have tamed this guy who is just social and is charismatic, so charming. You just think, oh my gosh, I'm so lucky to have this man. He knows exactly what to say. Now, girls, he is very dangerous. So he's the man who makes you feel so special, but he's also the man that gets really bored easily. He forgets things. He is really amazing at the beginning. And what you need to do if you want him, it's about being incredibly playful. It's about knowing that with this man, you will always have to not respond to his text messages, keeping on his toes, keeping that sense of hugely high sense of adventure. He can get bored when it comes to settling down and having a family. So he's the guy that generally breaks hearts. So if you're finding that you're with these guys who chase you and he gets you, and then as soon as you show interest, he pulls away, it's highly likely you're with someone who's an alpha charmer. So most men are a blend of 2 or 3, but he's normally the first 2 archetypes. So then you have to factor that in dating. That guy won't ever really propose, and if he does, he's never really in the marriage because he gets bored. So this is where you start. This is where the archetypes come in very powerfully, because the amount of women I've coached, thousands over the years, would literally say, oh, he's an alpha charmer. And I just say, look, I know you like him, but it'll end in tears. But you can. This is who you want him. This is what you need to do. And look, generally they get very exhausted, come back and say, he lied, he cheated. I shouldn't have shown interest. He pulled away. So this is where you can date that guy if you want, and I can give you strategies to keep him. But at the other end of the scale is like, do you just want to be you, your true authentic self, when you're pushing the pram and getting that beautiful house or whatever it is your goals are? So yeah, that's the one guy. He's great to be friends with.
I love it. I love it. That was really clear. I can picture a lot of different men that I've met and seen it as you described that. Both so that's really cool. I can't wait to hear the other 2.
Yeah. Okay, then we have the guy next door, and most women say, oh, he's just so boring. And yes, it can be true. He's a creature of habit. He wants commitment. He's possibly a little bit more on the shy side, slightly more introverted. He is the guy that won't chase you. You won't even know you won't even know is he interested or not. He will rarely ask you out. You'll probably have to ask him out. The thing is, he is the key guy in terms of the empathy and wanting that longevity and commitment in a relationship. He generally has eyes for one woman. It's important that he is mixed with an alpha guy next door. So the key is, yes, to understand these 4 types, but also understand the different blends. So the perfect man ultimately for marriage is the alpha guy next door. He's strong, he's masculine, he's driven. He is the man. He wants to protect his family. And even though you can take care of yourself, it's just so nice to have that strong, loving, caring man who wants a relationship in your life. So that's where the alpha guy next door will make all the difference in your life, as opposed to, oh my gosh, alpha charmer, he's a player. The alpha guy next door, strong, loving, caring man. You know, the smart women in life that have these really beautiful, stable relationships, they know what they're doing. They just do it organically.
I was just going to say, you're describing my husband to a T right now, which makes me so happy.
Good. So you're one of those smart women. See, I wasn't. I got swept up by an alpha charmer, even though my gut was like, oh, it doesn't feel right. But there was this inkling, and this is this instinct that we all have. And it's really important to trust that instinct. But quite often we get caught up in the story and how it feels. And so we just go for that, as opposed to really trusting our intuition and what other women are saying about that man.
Yeah. I believe in that so strongly too, that we can look back. I think most women can look back at failed relationships or heartbreaks and remember that there was a gut feeling, or there was something that they overrode.
Yeah.
while that's sad that we have to go through that, we have to experience that, it's also so empowering to know that voice is always there. And
Mhm.
I love that you're reminding us to listen to that.
Listen to yourself, because you know, and your intuition is strong.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. So there's a fourth archetype still that
that's
we
right.
have.
Yeah.
Okay. So excited.
We have the intellect. Now he is amazing. He's a bit of an enigma. He comes on strong at first, and as soon as he likes you, he pulls away. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, he's just ghosted me. This man often gets accused of ghosting, but he's totally not ghosting. He is in his head. He's thinking she doesn't like me. She's not interested. I don't want to get hurt. But if she liked me, she'd be asking me out. And they genuinely think women ask them out. But it's worth asking them out. Because if we do, they'll think, oh, okay, well, she does like me. This is awesome. They generally say really bad things, like they put their feet in their mouth. Like they are completely not charming. They're kooky, but they're incredibly driven, successful. They're really great men. They're very loyal. They're called constant convincers. So they'll be so in their head that when they start to date you, things will go well and they'll pull away because they'll think, oh, she's not interested and she can't be interested and I'm not good enough. They are like the diamonds in the rough. They're the guys that just have no idea how amazing they are. But what's really important is to make sure he has the intellect, some guy next door, and a touch of alpha, because the intellect guy next door is the more feminine type. He's masculine in terms of the intellect, but he doesn't have the alpha energy to ask you out. So this is where if you want a guy who's smart, committed, then he needs an element of intellect, alpha. That'll be that enough to ask you out. The two of you will be like best friends. You'll just build this strong partnership. He loves and adores a strong, intelligent woman. So if you hear women saying, oh, men get intimidated by me, that guy will put you on a pedestal. He will love you for who you are. So you don't have to change who you are. So some women say, I'm not comfortable being in my feminine energy. I am who I am. And if that's you, be who you are. Find that intellect, because he adores a strong woman. The alpha competes. The charmer, he's like, he doesn't, he's not really much of a commitment guy anyway, so it doesn't really matter what you do. As long as if you ignore him, he'll be interested. And the guy next door, he wants you for you as well, but also very powerful to be in that feminine energy. That's the 4 types.
So cool. Oh my gosh. I'm just eating up every single thing that you said. And again, reflecting on so many different men that I've met and heard about, and it all connects. It makes so much sense. And so I believe you said there are 4 female types as well.
Yes.
Are they pretty similar to?
Pretty similar, yeah.
Okay.
The alpha, the entertainer, the girl next door, and the intellect, they're pretty similar, really. They're just the female version. I'm happy to share that gift as well.
Okay, cool. So do you want to talk now about what the gift is that we keep referencing? I'm so excited. Cool.
This is the gift that'll change your life. If you apply it, completely changed my life. And it's about helping you date smarter. It's about taking everything out. And what you're basically doing is, before you get emotionally involved and caught up in the story, you get to the facts and you say, do your research. Just like if you were buying a house, you figure out if it was infested with termites, structurally sound, a good area, as opposed to all the beautiful scents and the staging that they put in the house. This is removing the staging and looking at the calls. So really looking at this man for who he is. And if you're that person who wants to be looked after and in a relationship where the man just is the strong man, then this helps you decide who will give you that, and you focus purely on that. Or if you're that woman who wants to just, look, I'm strong, I'm independent, I know who I am and I want to be that way, then it's finding that man again who is very complementary. So I have a download. It's the gift that will change your life. It'll give you all the tools that you need to identify the right man for you. And it shares things like the words to use, the traits to look at, the types of careers he is in. You identify him. And it's lots of fun.
It sounds so fun and practical. And thank you so much for offering that. So like I said, you guys, the link will be below this video to grab that download. That's incredible. I'm so excited for everyone to go through that. That was really fun to learn from you. And I have a few more questions I'm hoping we have time to get through.
Yes.
And one of them, I feel like you've touched on some of this already, but what would you say are some of the biggest misconceptions that women have about men that sort of sabotages their ability to attract lasting love with a man, with the right man, I should say?
Well, it really just comes down to not understanding him. So
Mm,
putting all men in, and men are like this and women are like that works to a degree, but some men are more extroverted,
yeah.
action takers that love to chase, and some don't. Some like the women to ask them out because they just don't have the confidence, or they're very practical and factual. So quite often, one of the biggest things I hear women saying, "Oh, he's ghosted me, he's disappeared." Maybe they're speaking online, they keep talking and talking and talking, and they tend into pen pals, but nothing happens. But when I say, look, he's interested, otherwise he wouldn't be responding. So why not just suggest a catch up when it happens? The catch up happens. So he's just looking for the signals. The good guys have no idea. They've been burnt.
Yeah.
They've been told, how dare you? It's really, there's a movement out there that's really causing dating to be really confusing. Men are afraid of being accused of harassment or stalking or all sorts of things. I mean, some genuinely are, but others are just really gentle guys who don't know how to ask you out.
Mm, I think that's so valid. Thank you. Um, that sort of leads to another question that I had about online dating. I'm a big fan of it for my clients, and I love learning from other experts around this. And I think I'd love to hear how you recommend women navigate the conversations. I know understanding your archetype and these male archetypes is going to be really helpful for that, it sounds like, in your free gift. But can you tell us a little bit about how to start a conversation, how to get from the apps to actually connecting on the phone in person? I think the beginning can be so awkward. And again, like you said, so many women can accuse a man of ghosting when that might not be happening at all. So just some strategies for the communication, early stages of communicating.
Good question. That's one of the biggest questions I get. What do I say? Just be mindful. It is really difficult to talk to a complete stranger.
Yeah.
There is a really good structure that you can use, and it's simple. It's just imagine yourself, you're with a girlfriend. So the conversation goes back and it goes forth, and there isn't just one person asking questions. It's often asking a question and then acknowledging the response and then sharing something. So there is a structure that is a winner. So the initial message is, acknowledging the connection. So nice to hi and insert name, nice to connect with you, and then compliment something about their profile and then ask a question. And when they come back to you, then you could follow that formula again. So it's compliment, question, acknowledgement, share. Compliment, question, acknowledgement, share. So
Awesome.
people are very awkward, even men. They have no idea what to say. Just drive it. If your conversations are boring, all my conversations are boring. Well, what can you do about that? Because you can change that. Make them exciting.
By using this structure.
By using the structure of question, compliment, lightheartedness. Do not expect the man to entertain you, because the charmer will. It feels so good talking to a charmer, but you'll end up crying, as opposed to the guy who has no idea. You be the charming one. You create that positive association, so then he feels good. Because while you're doing this, all you're doing is filtering. You're figuring out, is he compatible? Is this someone I want? Let's just say, how do I feel with him? Look, he seems like a great guy. Get off the dating apps and get to a face-to-face meeting. Even suggest things, you might talk about food or favorite restaurants or locations, or you might have an accent that you haven't heard. I'd love to hear your accent in person. Shall we just grab a drink? Why not? Go for a walk. You have a dog, something. Just suggest it.
Yeah, That was going to be my next question, is how can we get from the apps to actually on a date? And I like some examples of what to say. And I love those examples. You make it sound so easy and so natural, which I would love for everyone to feel, to have access to that and feel that like easy breezy energy when they're communicating, because it can be so awkward and clunky.
It can be, yeah. But just that's why you have a number of, say, 3 people that you're speaking to that you're excited about. The mind doesn't go into overwhelm with 3, but if you're focusing just on that one person, it's too scary.
Yeah.
The odds are too high. It's like playing blackjack, as opposed to having three men that you're very excited about, 3 men that you really enjoy this connection with. If one fades away, you still have 2. That's completely fine. Do not invest. He might have a wooden leg, no teeth, and stink. You don't know that. He might have good photos. So until you meet him in person, you have no idea. And then if he behaves well, excellent. If he behaves poorly, well, isn't that a really good indicator? It's better early. And then later on, you just use that as a filter. I like the way he looked, but I want someone who's really kind and makes you feel really good. And instead of asking yourself the question, he didn't want me or does he want me? Don't care about that. Do you want him? And the way you want him is if he's responsive, if he's a great communicator, if he's really kind. If he's none of those things, he's no good for you. You don't want him.
Right. I love that.
I want him, as opposed to does he want me, is the biggest turning point.
That's such a good point. I think that so many women accidentally fall into that trap. And so I love that.
Heard from him. He didn't ask me out on another date, whatever, just ask him. And particularly if he's that internet guy next door, and if he doesn't go again, well, I don't want him. I want someone who wants me. I want someone who's responsive, emotionally available.
Yeah.
You want all things, focus on what you want, not what you don't want. You don't want that guy who's flaky, because he'll be flaky forever.
Something that I love what I'm hearing you say is, especially as you understand the archetypes, it's never about changing who you are in order to achieve one of the archetypes.
That's right.
Really about learning what you need and what you want.
Yeah, and that's 100%.
And then understanding the archetypes, then you can kind of pick up on, oh, this guy is clearly a charmer. I'm not interested in that.
Yes.
Etc. Okay, that's super cool.
Yeah.
Love that.
You've nailed it.
Yes, A+ student, I hope. Yeah,
totally.
It's so good to bring that focus back onto ourselves and make it about us, how we feel, what we want, what works for us, what doesn't work for us, and releasing that attachment to the specific men. I love that. I really agree that with that strategy of having multiple men you're talking to, multiple men you're getting to know, just takes that pressure off. I know we're getting like towards the end of our time together. I wish I could ask you 10 more questions, but if I could ask you one more, it would be about tips for your dating profile. Yeah, how to have a magnetic dating profile, or irresistible, to use the word of this, the same word as the title of this series.
Yes.
For the kind of man you're looking for.
Okay. Now, we all know photos are important because a picture says 1,000 words. So it's important to have a really nice, beautiful headshot, beautiful body shots, incorporate things that you're on holidays or something that's easy to talk about. You might have a dog, one group photo. So look at the photos and think, okay, if I'm looking for that long-term relationship, do I look like the girl next door? Do I look like someone who's wife material? Or do I look like I'm fun? So try not to look like the fun girl, even though you may be having fun. And what I mean by the fun girl is the girl that's got the wine in her hand, and if every photo is going to have one wine, but a glass of wine and a lot of cleavage or really sexy shots, you will get attention, but from those wrong men. So go into a little bit more of a conservative, you can still be really stunning and beautiful, more of a slightly more conservative mode where you'll attract a more serious man who's looking for a wife. And then in the profile, forget about the my last shower thought stuff. Do write more things such as my ideal weekend. I'm hoping you are, smart, driven, family oriented. Really focus on what you want. Paint a picture of what your ideal weekend is like. If there's a bio, you might say something like professional by day, girl next door by night. Talk about things you love doing. I love family. I love cooking. I love travel. I love art, talk about all the feminine things that you love doing. So then when he reads your profile, he thinks, oh, she's interesting, she's intriguing, she's actually put some effort in. And I don't know what it is about her, but there's something about her, as opposed to no information, a bunch of selfies, and really fun nightclub shots. Get rid of them. Keep them for the phone, and just put photos in there that are, if you think about who's the girl in the movie that all the men want to marry, be her, because you have that within you. Like what you're wearing today is perfect. That is beautiful, beautiful, you know, it's a beautiful, stunning dress, and it's very feminine, and you can see that's a really beautiful girl next door. Yes, they make a great wife. Type of
I did put some effort into the jewelry and the vibe today.
Those finishing touches.
Thank you. I love that advice. I love it so much. And I can feel you're painting this picture of someone that just feels so authentic, so embodied, so almost like that authenticity makes her feel safe. Like you want to go towards her because she's being so natural and she's being herself. I mean, that's how I experience people, is the more comfortable someone is in their skin, the more comfortable I feel around them. And they're raw. And I'm assuming it's very similar in the dating process.
Definitely.
That's so cool. I could talk to you forever. I just think you're amazing and so wise. And I loved learning from you. Thank you so much for being a part of this series.
My pleasure. Thanks.
I hope I can learn from you in the future again, because I had like 5 more questions that I'd love to ask.
We'll chat next time.
Yes, everything that we covered, I think, is so helpful for the women here. So